Payton, Alex, good morning. How's it going?
Good morning. We're good. How are you?
Doing very well. Doing very well. Just got back from a trip out east. Late last night, I went to North Carolina and Georgia, see a bunch of
Oh,
customers, and did a big event at the Roush Yates Manufacturing Solutions facility, VIP tour, go-karting. It was such a
oh
blast.
my gosh, how fun.
So
It seems like you're always traveling around to visit shops, which is
I
a fun gig.
visiting shops is like one of my favorite things in the world to do. I definitely at some point I'll come down and visit your shop too. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
That's great.
lucky that I get to do it. And you guys have
Yeah.
had a good week since our last time?
Yes, we've had a busy week. We went over, let's see, what did we touch on? We touched on work orders. We tied that up with our training. Feel like there's a lot of different methods that you can pick from in terms of the way you build out your purchase orders and the way you want to build out your work orders and flow it through scheduling.
Yeah.
So that was an exciting topic for us because we have we have a lot of customers that have LTAs and long-term contracts and forecasts, and they're always changing and evolving. And so we actually decided to run with the internal PO method for probably the bulk of our purchase orders that we get.
Okay.
And to like elaborate on that for people who might not know, it's just we are going to make POs internally and decide the quantity and how many we want to run and due dates and things like that. And then when we go ahead and ship the parts to our customer, those POs are just going to say pull from inventory. And
Right.
we can pull from inventory for 50 lines, but only have to produce 2 or 3 well-rounded out
Matches. Yeah.
work orders.
Yeah.
That's going to help us with our scheduling and our planner. It'll cut his time in half, I think, as opposed to having to fully plan out 50 lines on one PO. We'll just do a handful. That was really fun to look at. And then scheduling, we also
we went
learned about.
Last session was mostly about scheduling, which was pretty cool. We did there's hard start date, and then there's last direct order, which is like forward, backwards scheduling or forward scheduling. And we did it's customizable per machine, which is I thought really cool. So there's certain machines that we will have forward scheduling on, and then there's certain machines that will have backward scheduling on, more so like the long-term runner type parts. Backward scheduling would be great for those.
Sure.
But I think at least right now, I think the forward scheduling on like hot items or expedite orders, which we generally only run on a few machines anyways, would be great to plan it out that way. So I'm very interested when we start, moving forward, if we're going to stay with one method or keep them split. I think that was very exciting on there.
Scheduling is sort of the automated schedule that you have in ProShop is a totally new concept to us, because we do have that in our current system, but it's the way we operate and we have so many workarounds. It's impossible to use. And
Right.
so we're excited to see this and use it and get it out of his head and out of our planner's head and have full visibility of what's going on.
And more so like when employees come in, they can look at the schedule and say, oh, okay, I'm working on that next. I don't need to go ask Alex, what are we doing next, right? It's just going to be the way it should be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Using the system to drive. Yeah. Scheduling, it's one of the most pervasively challenging things that every shop faces, especially those in mixed mode, high volume, low volume, quick turn, build to stock, build to order, which you were alluding to with the BTI, built to inventory and pull from inventory orders. And the fact that you can have those multiple routings on the same part number and choose which one you want and do that economic batch size, that fewer of them. Yeah, that's awesome. I was just out on this visit. I went to one prospect company as well. They're a big company, and they were talking about, like over 300 employees, but they were talking about, you know, their scheduling system doesn't work today at all. Basically, it does work. Every night it completely recalculates the schedule. So if a scheduler gets things lined up the way they want it for their department, they come in the next morning, it's completely reordered. The software has completely recalculated everything the way it thought it should be done, which is so often true with these sort of global rescheduling ERP systems that, and they said, you know, you either spend the whole, well, actually in their case, they don't even have the ability to reorder things. So they just stop using the schedule entirely and resort to whiteboards and spreadsheets.
Yes.
So common.
It's a similar case over here, and it was constant between Alex and Mike. They're like, we just can't use it. We can't use it because it doesn't understand X or it doesn't understand Y.
There's so many nuances. Even if you have, I mean, the scenario that anyone listening will resonate with, even if you have two somewhat identical machines, there's reasons why you should be running a job on one of them versus the other one. It's like, oh, we already have the 5th axis attachment on this one, or this one already has the set of tools, or this one is a couple years newer, so it's actually more accurate, or this one has higher spindle speeds. And, you know, the schedule doesn't know that. The software doesn't know all those nuances, but the humans in charge of that area, they certainly know all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say there's, you know, with scheduling, it's complex and trying to figure out, you know, keep the machines fed. But there's also a big difference between when you turn over, you know, you have one machine that you make 7 or 8 setups on in a week versus, you know, a machine that's running for like 3 or 4 months. That's super easy to schedule, right? I mean, it's going to be the same thing. And we're more so on the first side where, you know, every machine is getting reset up, you know, almost every other day. So there's so much throughput that we put through the shop and through the machines and the personnel we have. So it's going to be very interesting how that's going to work out, which is cool. And then when we go back to the work orders real quick, I was asking Justin, I'm like, so we have to plan which machine it's going to go on in order to finalize the work order. He's like, yes, you do. But on the schedule, it's very easy just to move the work order around to run on different machines.
And then it updates. If you update it on the schedule, it updates it on the work order, but not the part page, right? Which is amazing because again, there's so many different scenarios for every time you run the part.
Yeah.
And the opposite is also true. You can update the work order page and it'll move it on the schedule, right?
Yeah.
Direction.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that when we were growing, you know, we were growing and continue growing the company by buying more machines and whatever. I always buy the very similar machines. So parts can run, you know, our lathe department is 11 or 12 machines and almost anything we run can be ran on any machine in the lathe department. And then for the mills, they're all capable of running the same thing. So it was just, you know, like, do I have to put, you know, which machine is going to run on? Because it literally could be any of them, but it's just so nice that the scheduling is kind of easy to
change it and customize it and drag things.
Change it on the go, which is nice.
And did he talk to you about the idea of a queue work cell that sometimes?
We did touch on that.
We did touch on that a little bit. I think we have some questions that we need to get answered, and that was one of them for the next session. So maybe we'll have a queue cell. So I think Justin did say that it could get pretty lengthy in the queue if you don't. It can become a mess pretty quick if you don't plan it out correctly beforehand.
I know some customers do use that concept, but you still got to be on it on a daily basis to then assign it out to the individual machine. So you know the actual capacity of each of those pieces of equipment.
Exactly.
And that's what he was alluding to. He's like, we certainly can do that, but he recommended doing it, you know, just assigning it to the machine. And we actually have someone else in our training sessions. I think it's Elliot, right? And he was the scheduler. And he used ProShop, I think, at his last 2 jobs. And so having his insight too was awesome. And we're going to continue to learn more from him. And I think it's great when you get real life examples, you know, from
and both of those guys came from shops using ProShop and know firsthand experience. So I love that about our implementation team. They're just they
It
bring
is
so much
fun.
real world experience.
Yeah.
And we've been dropping, anytime we have like scenario questions or just specific internal questions, like, how do you think we should handle this? Like more of a brainstorm, you know, we've been putting them in that process development section on the
The
tip
training
that
work
we
order.
have. Yeah.
I love
Because
it.
those are more like broad questions that we can't just, you know, black and white answer. So we're starting to set some time aside to get it to those questions. So it's
good.
fun talking about that stuff with people who understand it, you know?
Yeah. And using ProShop's feature to put it on your topic list, right?
Yeah.
Which is the same function that in, you know, in your own shop will be used to talk about improvement ideas or process, you know, changes that the machinists want to talk to you guys about, planners or programmers about. So that's
and that tool that we had decided, like we have a manager on the floor and they have like an all hands meeting once a week. And so we were thinking that he would be the one to collect the feedback and just have one person inputting that information on, you know, if they run into any issues, he can collect it from the floor, he'll put it in, and then, you know, we'll see it and can address it. But it is a neat feature for a dedicated space for that.
Yeah. And there is sometimes the use case which wouldn't work as well with a once a week meeting, but it's like, I need some immediate help on this, you know, or pretty immediate. They can put it in, check the box to message the planner, and it immediately sends a system message to the planner programmer. So it's like, hey, I need a new, you need to repost this code or something because something's happening. But yeah, those general and process improvements, like, well, if we redesign the fixture next time, you know, to do it this way, it's not urgent, but you definitely want to capture it and not lose that idea. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then one other thing that I realized we didn't touch on yet, but we really are trying to perfect like the CSV import for orders, because like I said, our
all the
it's
PO
not
changes.
possible. It's just not humanly possible for us to get those up to date. So I'm trying to like really understand that process. We've been working on making sure our templates match. And then Justin also mentioned that soon with a rollout of the next version or an update of the software, the CSV is even better than what it is.
They're doing a lot of, it's already pretty slick, but they're doing a lot of.
Oh, it is. And I'm like, how? I'm like, I can already dump information in here and it updates. So I'm looking forward to drilling that down. And I know it's like a sensitive, you know, you have to be careful when you're importing the information because you know, the system is all linked. But if we can figure it out, that's going to be like absolutely life-changing for the whole process. Because I was laughing, like, we never have, it's not machining and it's not quality, you know, that's really the things we're trying to iron out. It's like managing the influx of changes and orders and making sure it gets flowed to the right places. So that's going to help us.
Yeah. That shop I visited, the very large one, there was a person next to me when I was talking to one of the gals. She literally had a stack of papers about 1.5 feet thick of just PO date changes, but they print them all to paper as they're making those changes. I could not believe.
It's just painful. We walk around now and I'm like, I can't wait till that stack's gone and that stack's gone. Like the day we can just put them away.
I know.
It's gonna be
awesome.
good.
Well, thanks for the update. Great seeing you both. Look forward to next time, and thanks for sharing your journey.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye, Paul.
All right. Cheerio, guys. Bye-bye.